So first remark is whatever you might have heard so far, these new rules have not yet been or not yet effective. Okay. Meaning that they are not yet in force. And well, we will look at that and why this is the situation right now. So in terms of the presentation, we'll take a look at which are relevant changes, where are we now, and eventually assessing different options that range from permanent residency to citizenship. Just a forward before we start, and this affects those that already have a residence card. Okay, and for those, specifically for those who have an expired residence card. Okay, so right of residence remains valid for up to 6 months after the expiry date. Okay, and this is according to the regulatory decree in force. So non-EU citizens who have not yet applied for renewal of residence permit would only be in an irregular situation as follows: 6 months from October 15, 2025 for cards that expired by June 2025. Okay, so very simple. If your card expired before June 30th, 2025, 6 months count from October 15. And then your card remains valid. And you can, of course, enter the country. And we will look at the conditions for that in just a moment. If your card expired after June 30th, then the 6 months count or are counted from the expiry date of that card, not before. Okay, so two different situations. With regard to entry in Portugal, if your card is already expired, but you already have we have applied on your behalf for your renewal, then please bring with you not just your passport, not just your residence permit, but also the notification for the renewal application or for the appointment if one has been issued already. Okay. In terms of Golden Visa Backlog, just to let you know where we stand. As you know, and this is something we have performed on behalf of many of you, there are still 133,000 cases against AIMA, the Migration Agency. And of course, this is moving very, very slowly. But in parallel, we have been seeing movement that suggests the government is taking decisive action to clear the backlog in 2026. We have been receiving a slew of appointments for biometrics, and the first batch stretched from January to March, and now second batch received just last week stretches over to May 2026. So despite we've all heard of many, many broken promises by the Portuguese authorities over the last few years, truth is there seems to be action that actually supports these new promises. Okay. And further support or evidence we may find in the number of cards issued from January till October 2020, October 22, 386,000 cards. That represents a 60% increase year on year. Government has also vouched an allocation of an extra 74 million euro to assist with not just the clearing of the backlog, but mainly to reinforce the migration agency with all kinds of resources, human and technological. Moving on to the changes that were passed to the current Citizenship Act. Again, I would like to stress these rules are not effective yet. We will take a look at that in just a minute. Now, the most salient aspect, of course, is raised residency requirements for naturalization, which means that EU citizens and citizens from Portuguese-speaking countries must spend 7 years before they can, or be a resident for 7 years before they can actually apply for citizenship. All other nationalities would have to wait 10 years. Second important issue, computation of residency. It would only be from the date of issuance of the first card, meaning no grandfathering rules or none have been provided for in the new text. Okay, so computation of residency would start once again from date of issuance of the first card. Additional tests on Portuguese culture, history, and civic structure. This is similar to other countries like in the US or Spain. Proof of financial resources at the point of submission. This is yet to be defined. Criminal conviction, prison sentence of 2 or more years would equal a rejected application. And for children born in Portugal, they may only qualify for automatic citizenship if at least one parent has lived in Portugal for 5 years. Again, these are the most significant changes and the ones that would affect golden visa holders are numbers A and B, raised residency requirements, and specifically computation of residency. So where are we now? As mentioned, is the law already in effect? No. When will it be in effect? The day after publication in the official gazette, which is the Diario da República. When will that be? Depends on the President of the Republic. According to the Portuguese Constitution, there are certain formalities that need to be met. Number one, President may enact the bill, and then it will move forward for publication. Number two, President may veto the bill. This is not a definitive veto, as the Parliament can override the President's decision. Number three, refer the bill for assessment by the Constitutional Court. Timeline for President's decision is 20 days. And as mentioned, this decision might involve a veto, in which case the Parliament must take a new vote from the 15th day only after the presidential veto. If the law is passed again, the President has 8 days to enact the law. In case of the constitutional test, the President is to refer the matter in 8 days, and the Constitutional Court is to resolve the matter in 25 days or less if the President should decide on a tighter deadline. We have seen this over the summer when the Migration Act was approved, and there were some fundamental issues that the Constitutional Court deemed unconstitutional, and therefore Parliament had to remedy those provisions, only after which the president finally gave his assent to enact the law and it was published. The question is whether the president might take a similar view with the Citizenship Act. It is possible, but of course, I do not hold a crystal ball. Based on the president's background and track record, I do believe it is possible, not just because we've had a very recent case, which was the Migration Act, but also because he has been a professor of constitutional law for a very, very long time and therefore is well acquainted with the limits of different organs or bodies of sovereignty and is a scrupulous supervisor, if you like, of the Portuguese constitution. Well, in the meantime, can I submit now the citizenship application under the old rules? Yes. Remember key documents: A2 Portuguese language certificate, criminal record from every country the applicant has lived in for over 1 year, and a legalized birth certificate as well. Of course, right now, the residency requirement of the 5 years starts computing from the date of the initial submission, not the date of issuance of the card. So if you have fulfilled your 5 years under that rule, then now the submission of a citizenship application under the old rules, which are actually the current rules, since the new ones are not yet in effect, is possible. If you don't meet the requirements yet, what now? Well, the approved amendment, as mentioned, does not contain a grandfathering rule. So we will have to wait for the president's decision and only then assess different options. Now, let's presume the worst case scenario, that there will be no grandfathering rules, and therefore the new ones that have been approved will apply to everyone. Then we should consider at least 3 different routes. One, secure permanent residency, and that would only be possible 5 years from issuance date of the first card. Once we have locked in that permanent residency status, remain within program and apply for citizenship under the new rules. Number 3, if there are, of course, potential challenges for certain family members, especially children above legal age, who might not, due to marriage or end of studies, might not find themselves in a dependency position anymore. Again, that is something that we will need to look at carefully. This is just one of the possible alternatives, one of the possible options out there. This is not for everyone, but with regard to Spanish route, there is a 2-year residence period for specific eligible nationalities, shown Ibero-American countries, Philippines, Equatorial Guinea, and Jews of Sephardic origin. This allows for full dual citizenship. Periods of absence are allowed, but cannot surpass 3 consecutive months at a time. Because, of course, we have several offices in Spain, we are open to assist clients who might qualify for this specific route. And actually, we're already doing so as we speak. By way of conclusions and moving forward, we will wait for the result of the presidential decision. We will continue to monitor next steps and inform all of our clients accordingly. Reassess when the law has finally been enacted and published. We can only take charge of the situation at that time. Once we know what the final text looks like. Again, worst case scenario, we should evaluate permanent residency conditions, remain on the citizenship path if that is feasible, or if that is something that you would like to consider. Number two, divest and consider other countries or programs. And number three, consider merits of litigation. This is, of course, something that is too early to actually have a final position on, but there are already stirrings in the legal community that might point in that direction. Of course, this does not resolve the matter in a quick and efficient mode, but nevertheless, we should remain alert to the possibility. And then, of course, we will advise for those of you who might have specific questions on a one-to-one basis, consider personal circumstances, and prepare a strategy moving forward. So thank you, and I am available, of course, for any questions that you might have.